I'm pretty sure we are live. Okay, I don't know. It's probably gonna go in and out a little bit, but that's all right. We are officially live. We're live at the Hollywood Improv for Metaphysical Comedy.
That's right. It's all happening.
It's all going down. Avery's back there on the ones and twos.
Hi, I got all the numbers back here.
How many numbers are there?
Yeah, there's two. There's just a series
of
ones and twos. You go back and forth.
Crazy, because I would think there would be binary code-wise zeros and ones.
1, 0, 1. Nerd alert.
I saw the Matrix.
Oh, hello.
More than once. I remember binary code. Okay, so this show, I'm very excited. I love doing this show. And I love doing it here in this space because I think it's super exciting to get people to chat about things that they don't normally talk about, that everyone wants to talk about. Thank you, Julia. Julia, right?
Yes.
That would have been such a jerk move.
Yeah.
Thanks Karen.
Yeah.
We've all with K names. What is with K women?
I don't know. Great to see you, Katie.
Bye, Katie.
Kira.
Costanza.
That's a great name for a girl.
That's gonna be my little girl.
I named you after a fat Greek guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And her last name will be George. I'm changing her last name, so her full name is Costanza.
She's
George.
beautiful.
She'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
A little beautiful freak. Okay, so the reason I like doing this is because everyone wants to talk about these things. They do. Avery's eyes got like excited and delighted when I told him. He was like, "So what's the tone of the show?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't know." Oh,
you can't define it because it's not on this plane.
The tone of the show is esoteric.
Cool.
That's so cool. But it is purely inspired by my own love and curiosity for this stuff. So today's guest is a medium. And okay, so here's what's been happening when I do this show, guys. Weird stuff happens like a couple hours before the show. It always starts going down, and I think that's because we plan it like a little bit in advance. You know, we always have like, and I think some weird stuff starts like one time the traffic completely parted ways for me. Like it was just like, oh hey guys, welcome here. Like traffic parted ways. Another time like all this stuff just started like, just all these people started canceling on me, just moments, not canceling like show up, canceling like, hey, I was going to do this thing with you in the next 2 days, but now I'm not, like in a back to back hours before the show. So today I was like, oh, it's not happening yet. Like it's okay because like it'll be just some magical energy, so I'll just waiting. And then what happened is I got a call from a non-caller ID, which are always creepy, but it's got no info, and I answered, and there was no one there, and that has happened like twice on my phone ever, and I'm always convinced it's ghosts. And this time it happened 2 minutes after I like needed to wake up from the nap I was taking, but I was awake because I never heard the phone. So I was like, they were making sure I was awake. They had my backup, and I'm pretty sure it was them. That's it. That was my weird thing. Sometimes I get texts from like no caller IDs, and then I'll just like respond to them like, hey. One time I got a text and I was like, hey grandpa, how are you? And it was obviously no response because it was like a no info, and then the text was like no info, and I was like, okay. Anyway.
It was me.
Was it?
Every time.
Avery, just get your number already.
It's finally full circle. It's full cyclical circle.
It's a cyclical circle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so speaking of the circle of life, I want to bring up. I'm so excited about this woman. Her name is Fleur, and she is a medium and a psychic, and she has whose phone is on.
Okay, let's just go over a few rules before the show continues. Welcome to the world famous Hollywood Improv. For future tickets events, please go to hollywoodimprov.com. Please turn off all cell phones and no heckling during the show. Enjoy the show.
That's okay. That was just someone texting. That was you texting him. That's right. Because you text everyone. No info. Did it say no info? Did it? No. That would have been too much. They don't work that obviously. Otherwise, this wouldn't be metaphysical comedy. It'd be like definitely physical, can be proven comedy. Okay. Anyway, I'm super excited. So she has shows all the time in Los Angeles, and actually we talked about this a little bit when we chatted on the phone. But I heard about Fleur from a friend of mine who was talking, of course, if you've known me for 5 minutes, we're going to start talking about this stuff. Because it's going to be like, hi, my name is Briana, and I'm interested in things we can't explain. Anything you want to chat about? No? And this girl said yes. So she started telling me about a show she had been to, and there are a couple things about her that she was like, first of all, she's so unassuming, because when you think medium, I mean, the stereotype is like all black, like in her 60s, frizzy-haired woman who's like, I'm channeling dead people. You know, you think of like Bewitched style medium, and Fleur is like, first of all, adorable and gorgeous, and like, hi everybody, and it's like, what is that?
Right.
And then she happened to read my friend at this thing, at the thing that she went to, and she was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. So I was like, I have to coax her into doing this show. And I don't know how, but she's here. So with that intro, please welcome the very talented, amazing medium, Fleur. Oh, hey, something's going on with your... We're live streaming this right now, which is dangerous because, first of all, there's crazy energy in this place. Secondly, all these planets are retrograding. So what are we even trying for?
Well, and I wore all black, which now I'm feeling weird about.
You didn't wear all black. No, this is not what we pictured when we talked about the lady. This is the opposite. First of all,
I left my turban in the car.
You gotta go get it.
No,
Where's your
sorry.
crystal ball?
Also in the car.
Oh man. Do you get that a lot? Do you get the stereotype?
Yeah.
Like, are people, because that's gotta be one of the first things they notice about you is like, oh my god, like I want to be your best friend. Like, not, I'm kind of scared of her and only want to be around her for like 10 minutes at a time.
Well, you know, I always start off my shows with saying nothing crazy is going to happen. My head isn't going to spin 180. Eyes aren't going to roll to the back of my head. I'm not going to foam at the mouth.
Oh, you
if
can
that
go.
happens, seriously, like if that happens, like call 911. It's not going to be like, oh, don't worry, she's channeling.
I never thought about that as an occupation hazard, but like if you start having some sort of seizure while you're in a show, I bet people would just wait it out.
This is going to be good.
And then they just get like another medium to come in, like, no, she passed away on stage, you idiot.
But guys, I'll be back in 5 minutes, so get a good medium.
Yeah, get someone. You just need someone on backup then. You need another medium on backup.
That's all, yeah.
Okay, so we were chatting a little bit before, and just to get some background on you. You're from Texas, but you're originally from the Netherlands.
That's right.
Okay,
yep.
Where in the Netherlands?
I was born in Delft, where the blue and white pottery is from, and then I moved to Gouda, where the cheese is from. But everybody says Gouda.
I'm so grateful you gave those references, because the second I asked where in the Netherlands, I thought to myself, you don't know anything about that place. Why would you ask that? Like, then you were like, I know where that thing is?
I've got to cover.
And Gouda.
Pottery, Gouda, yes.
Okay,
and then I moved to the States.
And then you moved to the States at what age?
At 8.
At 8, okay. And then you moved to Texas, the opposite of that sort of.
I guess, yes, pretty much the opposite.
Okay, so you know, you've got superpowers. So let's just start. I've got to throw that out there. I don't know a good way to transition into that. So when did you first realize that you have superpowers?
Well, I think as somebody with quote-unquote
you've got just say it. For the purposes of this show, I'm going to need you to be like, my superhero powers showed up at this age.
I think I thought that everybody could do what I did, so it wasn't something that I thought was different or odd in any way. And it was my parents, actually, who said, this one's not normal.
Mine said that too.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like every comedian has that story.
You may just be a comic.
Yeah. That's probably what it is.
You just talk to people that aren't there and just like make people cry all the time. You for sure are just a comedian.
Just a comedian. It's very true, actually. But yeah, so they didn't really know what to do about it, but my dad, the engineer, said, it's true. What she's saying is true. Like, I don't get it. I don't believe in it.
So, okay, what was the first time? Please tell me it was something super cinematic, where like you're hovering over your parents' bed in the morning, or no, late at night, and you're like, I see Grandma, and they're just like, where? Like, she's so mad at you. Why didn't you do the dishes before bed?
Nothing that good. But I was seeing people all the time, you know, so it was
so
just
you were
like
like
a constant...
sensing it. Like, so just someone was sitting there that was not there, and you didn't understand that they weren't there.
Oh, yeah, like that person. Everyone's like, no, what part? Or, you know, like the whole, like, get them out of the room. And my parents are like, yeah, we got all the boogeymen out of the room. And I'd be like, no, you didn't.
Because you can still see them.
Yeah.
So they don't have the sense.
No. Nobody really in my family
They're muggles.
They're total muggles. They're totally muggles. Lovable muggles, but muggles.
Yeah.
And my dad, the engineer, just very much at a very early age said, I don't get it, I don't understand it, but, you know, black, white, truth, not truth, it's true. We can't argue with the truth. And things were coming out that they would be like, all right, we'll test her. You know, like, all right, so what are their names? And I'd come back with nicknames and things of that nature. That
right, because that's the thing that really get people. Because I years ago went to a Vegas show. I think it was Penn and Teller, and they like read the audience, and they make this like hard case where they're like, and it's what they do is amazing. I mean, they have a random person get a book and they read a sentence, and then they have a conversation with the person, and then they say the sentence. It's crazy. Like, they're like, and then they're like, never trust someone who's a psychic. And then I'm like, then how did the psychic know my aunt loved, like, Olive Garden pasta? Because I didn't know that.
Exactly.
And my mom did. I couldn't have given that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the most amazing part about the work. It's true. Like, you'll tell people things they don't know, and then they have to go find out.
Yeah, like, and then they find out from someone, and then that I feel like verifies it even more, because it's like, then they're like, well, you're just reading the person, you're manipulative.
Exactly.
And
well, even, you know, the difference between psychic and medium. Psychic reads somebody's energy that's living in the world, and mediumship is all about reading somebody who's passed over. And so theoretically, I could just be reading your energy, but if you don't know some of the information and have to go find it, obviously it's coming from somewhere else.
Right, that's the crazy part.
Really cool.
So you started doing this, and your parents were like, all right, we got one of these, we got to do something with it. And we live in Texas. So how were they like, protect her from the Texans while also encouraging her to be herself?
That's exactly what happened. It was literally like, okay, if she gets a weird look on her face, we leave the party.
The ghosts have shown
right,
up.
Exactly.
Those party pooping ghosts.
Exactly. And then we'll just not really mention it to anyone. And I really, from a very young age, just want it to be normal, as I'm sure we all do. So
Avery and I are like, if only.
Yeah, I tried, and it never really worked out. So kind of gave that up. But, so I kind of lived a normal-ish life, and didn't want to do anything with ghosts, and didn't, have anything to do with spirit people and anything like that. And it wasn't really until I was 18 that I went to UCLA, and it all started coming back, and I had to figure out some way of managing it. So I started doing readings in college on the
So during your teenage years, you kind of like, it sounds like you were
totally
like suppressing it, or you
not
were,
normal, but
well, no
in
one's
that
normal
sense.
as a teenager.
Yeah, no.
They're teenagers, they're terrors to society.
Oh, it was such a terror.
I sound so 30, don't I?
Yeah.
In my early
Back in
20s,
those
I'm like,
days.
my friends. And at 30, I'm like, those terrors to society, how did we all survive them? This generation's gonna be the worst. Always.
Yeah, so I totally normal teenager.
Okay.
And then I went to
You never
UCLA.
like were enticed to do it as a party trick? I did like light as a feather stuff as a board.
Still not. Well,
type stuff.
now I find it a very spiritual thing for me, and so it's
Okay.
definitely not something I pull out at parties.
Right.
And
Well, yeah, because you're normal.
Because it
But
is-
when you're a terror, I feel
When I
like
was a
that would be
terror.
like, oh yeah, you're being mean to me. Well, your dead grandma always hated you. Like you never even felt like being like.
well, I wanted nothing to
You're
do with
being
it
haunted
during
by
that
a mean
time,
guy.
so
That's true.
didn't even think about it.
'Cause you're nice.
Exactly.
That's why I wasn't gifted with these superpowers. I would just abuse them.
I doubt it. I think there was always that very much that sense also about it, that it was something sacred. So it wasn't anything I was ever gonna just dive into and say, oh, we'll see.
Sure.
Because it was different and odd, and always did have sort of reverence for it. So
Are there things that, years ago, the guy that I delved into this world with, who's my teacher in many ways, I talk about him a lot, but he said that something happened to him where he saw his father's death. Like he kind of had this vision, and because he's gifted in very similar ways, and he was like, when that happened, he didn't see the time of it, but he had the vision of it, and then it happened, and it was like really, really hard on him. So he kind of had this moment where he was like, I don't want to see that anymore. Are there things that you just like turn off where you're like, please don't, like?
yeah, well, I definitely have my off and on switch.
Okay,
so
yeah, I wondered about that.
When somebody sees me out in public, they'll be like, oh, do you see anything around me right now? I'm like, nope, going for the pasta.
Yeah.
Very much like, they're like, oh, what do you see? And I'm like, just pasta, right?
I see you in the way of my food is what I see.
Yeah. No, but I have an off and on switch. So when I'm not at work, I say like I'm not working, and it's always a little bit in the background. But I've got it to a point where when I don't want to be seeing anything, I won't see anything.
Okay.
And then I think it also adds some strength to just the amount of energy that you have to give, such as in anything. If you guys do stand-up comedy, you come up here, you can't be doing comedy all day long necessarily, because
you can try. Both of us are on it.
We're the worst. It's the worst kind of thing.
I hate us both for pouncing on that so hard.
Haunted by giant It is the worst. As you can see, it's always on. Like, where's someone?
Wait, she was talking about us again.
Jump on it. Yeah. Let's make it about me. You were saying that I have a good anecdote about this whole story. It's only a half an hour. No, but you guys go ahead.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
So you can't always be on, because then when you really have to be on, then there's nothing left.
I get. Yeah, I can definitely see that, especially with something that I feel like would be like energetically exhausting more than something that feeds you. Like, I think part of the reason we joke is it sort of like, it definitely is tiring when you finally shut your mouth and go to bed at night if you decide to do that. But I feel like there's also an energy that, like, when you're doing it all day, you're like, oh, this next joke, I'm gonna try it again. How did 9 hours pass? You know what I mean?
And yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you can't be on stage doing that, like, all day long. Like,
totally.
That kind of energy.
Oh, so you're one of those stage performers, not just on the corner, like, hey, everybody, look at me. That's
1941.
I'm a vaudevillian performer. Still trying to find my audience. I could see that. I could see how that could be. That could help you to focus in. So, okay, let me start with I want to start with some of these general questions, like your superpowers. You have to get questioned all the time, right? Like, I feel like, we talked about this a little bit, you're one of the few professions next to a working actor that has to have a qualifier in front of their name when they say they're the thing.
Yeah.
Like, no, but really, I work. Like, I'm actually, that's got to be tiring.
Yes and no. I think at this point I just make it into a joke. There's very much that sense of you'll know within seconds when you say it if somebody's either excited about that or like now deathly afraid of you.
Okay. So, speaking of deathly afraid, this is my other general that I have to ask you. You make grown people cry a lot. I've only had that power on a few men, and I've loved every moment of it. Again, why I don't have superpowers. I would have just taken it to the diner. I don't know. Where do you take it to? What's the place? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a superpower in and of itself, but it's true.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
People are
super
it's like
touched by
waterworks.
you. That's what I watched some of your videos, which you must have an off switch for some of the trolls too, because I watched some of it and I was like, you leave her alone! Leave Brittany alone! Like, I was because they were like, look at her, manipulate her victim, and I was like, girl's like connecting this woman with her passed away daughter, like, let it go, bro.
Well, what really makes me very happy though is when people do come to my rescue. And I'll get these notifications, like somebody commented on your YouTube video, and so like I'll look at it and I'm like, yeah, John's really got my back today. Like it's really like I actually pay attention to that over the fact of whatever the other guy's saying.
Nice.
Although I have to say, kind of a tangent, but one of those guys who was like really going at it, he started one of his comments with, "I will say she is gorgeous, but boom, 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 boom," and I was like,
Thank you.
You know what? At least I'm gorgeous.
There you go. Like, you at least got one compliment from just a snide little troll.
Yeah.
That's hard
to
get.
The rest was real mean, but...
So you chose an off and on switch of what you took in.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm gorgeous.
The gorgeous
Thank
part.
you.
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore the rest of that.
But mediumship is really special in that way, that when somebody feels the presence of the spirit world, or like you really feel like you got that connection, it will make a 400-pound football player that used to be in jail, like, boom,
I saw those videos. I saw the videos.
And it's amazing, because we're all the same at the end of the day.
Yeah, okay, so I know you said you have like an off and on switch for this, but then you must live in the reality of like this world really, like, even if you're not talking to the dead people around, you have to still live in the reality of like it's still possible and like pick up on energies. Like, I feel like there's parts that you can't turn off, right?
No, absolutely not. But I wouldn't really want to live in a different way. I do believe we're all intuitive, so I do live a very intuitive life.
Okay.
Little things here and there. I was going to a meditation class that I was taking, and in my mind I was like, oh, we're not going to have it in the living room today. I was like, Fleur, that's ridiculous. We always, for the last 3 years, it's been in the living room. So I get there and there's no one in the living room. Instead of just leaving, you know, I was like, oh, I'm going to go into the backyard, maybe see if people are back there for the first time ever. But it's really kind of nice to live a life where you're like, oh, hold on, like, oh,
I just know
in the living room
things.
today.
I'm a person who knows stuff.
I just know things. No, but I think everybody can get to that point to some extent where you can live a life where you're like, okay, that feels good right now, that doesn't, I should be going there, I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And trusting your gut. Because how many times have you done something and later on looked back and went, I shouldn't have done that, and I knew I shouldn't have done it.
Like every day. Like that's how I got here. That's
I made a series of very bad decisions.
I don't know.
Leading to this bit.
Did we mention we're comedians? Like the saddest, just.
This is all that's left for us.
This is all that.
This is rock bottom.
This is the least scary thing to do, so we do it. But I guess I can see that. Like I'm in my own journey. Part of the reason I was excited to chat with you is I have like really been kind of unapologetically trying to become more intuitive to the point where I will just like cutting out things that just don't immediately excite me, because that's all
awesome.
like my strongest the strongest gut things that I get happen almost immediately, and then head just starts talking and is like, oh no, we still like that person, it doesn't matter that they like weirdly put their arm around us and feels like they're stealing your wallet, like just let them, like it, like the even though the initial instinct was like stay away, like
I know.
so I'm trying
just
to do
learn
that.
how to hold on to that.
Yeah, and it's kind
Makes
of
all the
nice,
difference.
but it's also hard, and that's why I can only imagine the way it is in your life is because people kind of don't, a lot of people don't respect that, meaning like they want more logic behind the like, I just didn't want to talk to them. Like, and I'm not trying to be a bad, but it's just like, no, they just make me feel bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Welcome to the world, I guess. I don't know what to say to that. It's true. It's a constant struggle, but in that regard, you can just kind of choose your own life, and nobody has a rule book that says you have to do it like everybody else. So.
Yeah, you hear that?
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to my phone. I'm hoping someone will call, and then I'm chiming in with, you hear that? It's pretty sad. Okay, so all this is very exciting. So when you started getting back into it, you said in college, or you said in college, right?
Yes,
You said
yes. That's when I gave my first real reading.
To a friend, or how did you?
No, I did not. I ended up at a psychic. So I was gonna go into premed, and I was doing all of that stuff.
I was too. What
Yeah,
a
who
terrible
doesn't?
decision
Seriously,
for people.
I think everybody in Los Angeles was like, I started off as a premed.
Yeah.
And about 2 years in, I realized I just wasted 2 years.
Yeah.
No, but I actually finished the whole 4 years of premed, but I didn't obviously use it. I just started getting all these experiences back, and I was getting unexplainably sick, and nobody knew what it was. And my dad, the ever-rational engineer, said, you used to be so weird. Maybe you should go.
Oh, he's like, there's a clog up in your weird vein.
You should go talk to a medium. And at this point, I was like, that's bizarre. That's not going to help me at all. But I went because they paid for it. And I was like, all right, if you make
Just
me
like
appointment. College.
You're the state.
Exactly. I was like, fine, I'll go. So I went, and she sits me down, and she goes, oh, you're going to be doing readings in like a year. I was like, oh, God, why does everybody say that all the time? Like, it was just because
But you didn't realize no one else is getting that. Everyone else is going in and being like, okay,
well,
you're
every
under
time
a
we
lot
go
of
to
stress.
the every time we go to the beach and get like tarot done, they'd be like, oh, you're gonna be doing this work, and I'd be like, they say that to everyone. My sister would be like, they don't though.
No,
I didn't get
they
that.
told me to learn to ride a bike
Yeah.
to get around better.
But like random people would come up to me in the streets sometimes when I was young and be like, oh, like you need to be working with your gift, and I was like, stop, you know.
Really?
Yeah, this happened quite a bit. So at that point, it was kind of the last straw. I was like, all right, fine, I will do it. And then the minute I started doing readings, I actually realized how much I absolutely adored it. I loved it, and I couldn't get enough of it. So that first kind of reading that I did really woke something up within me. And I remember it so vividly. It was her father who had passed, and it was just in a class. Like, I was doing a little class exercise, and I remember telling her, oh, like, you guys used to drink milk every night before you went to bed. And she was like, that's true. And I was like, it is? Like, that's amazing.
What kind of class? What
It was like a
pre-med
psychic
class?
class.
Okay,
No,
great.
it's
A second.
psychic class, yeah.
I was like,
It was like UCLA.
what
It's
pre-med
called
class
Psychic
were you
Awareness
taking?
101. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
No,
cool.
no,
I was
it's
like,
not-
wait, what? No.
Not at UCLA.
What is real anymore? It's too much.
No, it was just a side little class.
Okay, that you did, and then that was like the. So you had this like really affirming moment.
Yeah, it was very affirming, and I saw how much good it did for her, and it felt so amazing to be able to do that and to connect. And from that moment on, I was like, I have to figure out all that I can about this. So I started obsessively studying it, and throughout the entire time of going to UCLA, I became that premed student who was doing readings on GChat.
Oh, that guy. No, we all hate that guy.
That girl,
There's so
right?
many of them.
I was like doing readings for people on Google Chat. And,
Wait, you could just do readings on GChat? You just would... People...
I did at that time. I don't do that anymore, so you can't, I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. But
no, we don't have to.
That's how I got my
I'm
green
going to
card.
get so many emails now that are like,
I
hey, can I get a reading on GChat tonight?
That's funny, because I guess spirits could just come and talk to you from wherever.
I do readings on the phone all the time.
Sure.
So I don't actually have to be in a room with anybody for this to work out. So that's what I did. Like through college, I started doing it on the side, made some extra money. I was charging nothing at the time, but really just wanted so much experience. You know, just experience. And the more I did it, the more I was like, I wish I could do this full time. So I graduated and kind of
burned the degree.
Yeah, burned. You know what? I still haven't picked one up. I'm not kidding you. It's been...
When people don't walk in your office and go, where's your pre-med UCLA degree, psychic? I don't trust you anymore.
It's been 8 years, and I have yet to pick it up.
That's amazing.
It's a really expensive piece of paper. I should probably go get.
You should just think about it.
I should think about it.
Just consider it.
But yeah, no, I never used it. I think I had a job for about 3 months out of college, and then...
And then you've been doing this
and then I've been
for
doing
like
this.
8 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so, God, so many follow-up questions. Okay, so, when you, where do I start? When you see, I'll start with this one.
You
So,
okay?
No, I'm not. I'm having a clog up in my weird vein.
Glass of water or...
No, I just want to take her home with me and just shake all knowledge out of her.
Okay.
But I know that's inappropriate, so I'm trying to do
sounds
it.
painful, yeah.
So I meant to just like her so
Sounds
much.
really painful. Can you guys watch out for me?
I'm just really fascinated by her. Why is everyone creeped out by that? Okay, so here's when I've gone through phases of believing and not believing, which I think are healthy. I think it's healthy
I
to be
have gone
skeptical.
through those too, for sure.
Yeah, you have to. I mean,
Everybody does, I would imagine.
Everyone normal. See, otherwise you turn into the frizzy-haired, like, all-black crazy woman who's like, I see your future.
Well, and people come to me like, I'm really skeptical. I'm like, great. Please be skeptical, because don't just believe me because I say I'm a medium, you know?
Yeah.
Let me, like, show you that there's actually something there.
I'm the opposite as a comic. I'm like, please believe me, so that you'll open up to me and not make me prove to you that I'm funny, because I don't know.
The audience was like, I think you're not going to be funny today.
Yeah. Isn't that like every day?
Yeah.
That is kind of the struggle of a medium, for sure.
Right?
People do show up and they're like, not expecting much.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Right, and that's
Cool.
that's one of the things that my friend had mentioned when she went to your show. And you have another one coming up in June.
June 10th.
Yes, at Burbank at the Colony Theater, which is very exciting.
Oh,
And
that's a good theater.
it's a great
Yeah, I
theater.
love it.
She's doing theaters, man.
Oh, hell
She's
yeah.
selling out theaters.
Mm.
But she mentioned that one of the things that was so telling is she went just kind of on a whim and didn't even expect to get a reading or whatever, and it was like this super specific friend that had like just passed, and there was something specific that you said about her interpretation, and she was like, I was just doodling earlier, and she was like, do you do drawings for him? And she freaked out. And so I mean, I can imagine she went in like real low energy.
Yeah, we don't
and
plant
walked
anyone
out.
in the audience.
You
People
don't?
sometimes ask that, but no. So now you know.
Now we know. I mean, I'm sure they do, because everyone's looking for a reason not to believe, even though their little heart is like soaring, like I want to, but also it's hard because, and this is what I was gonna say. When you start to believe, I feel like, or when you go down that path, there's all these other things that feel like they have to go along with it. So, meaning, like, if I believe that my energy continues, then I also have to believe all these other things about like the afterlife and then this and then that, and it feels like it just open. And then there are demons and there are bad things.
Oh,
and
no, I don't
like
believe in
all
any of that.
But
Don't
that's what I
believe
mean. Like, it feels like you have to just start being like, well, I'm eating out of this pie now. I just take whatever the bite brings with it.
That's true. Yeah, to some degree. I think it definitely, the cool part about it is that people start living their own lives a little differently. You're like, oh, so I don't just get out of like a jail-free card, you know, when I pass. It's not like, oh,
This
let's
is
go
the
over
jail.
now.
Yeah.
Like doesn't matter what you did. So I think that's pretty great, because people do start to live their life a little bit differently, values what they, like where they put their attention. Maybe they were workaholics before and now they're like, oh, people matter.
Okay.
Things of that nature, you know, because a lot of times when you're connecting to the spirit world, they'll be like, oh, I would have done this differently or that differently, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It does make people kind of consider how they're living their life right now.
I love that. Okay, so like when Auntie comes back and is like, hey, I love what you're doing here and good job taking care of so-and-so, then you're like, I should take better, like I should be a better human, connections matter, instead of like...
Right, yeah, there's a lot to be learned from them, so I think that's really great. But you're right, it does get to be a little bit of a wormhole once you start thinking about it too much.
So what parts of the wormhole you're just like, no?
Oh yeah, I don't believe in hauntings.
Wait. Follow up. Follow up question. Go more. Wait. So if, and I'm not, and
people
I'm not
are so attached to hauntings. Like nobody likes.
I'm so attached to hauntings. I need to know why.
I don't like it.
I know.
It's Friday the 13th.
People like
it is
guys,
Friday the 13th.
Yeah. They're like, you're a medium and you're saying that I can't have hauntings.
Okay, so what is it? So
I believe that.
Okay, yes.
So let me explain.
I'm just gonna let you take the reins.
When you walk into a room and somebody's just been fighting, you feel it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And when something disastrous happens, it makes a similar energy mark, but bigger, like giant.
Okay.
Like if there's a murder or a suicide or something awful, it makes a ripple in the energy. And that's called a energetic imprint, or like residual energy.
Okay.
And so if it's strong enough, it can take a form of itself, but that doesn't mean that there's a soul within that energy.
Okay.
There's not like an actual soul. So when I'm connecting to your grandmother, your aunt, or whoever, I'm working
How
with...
did she know they're dead? I'm just kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Because everyone in my family it smoked cigarettes till they were like, since they were 4. They're all dead. They're all...
Okay, well,
anyway.
If I'm talking to your aunt or your grandmother, it's so funny, but they will show up as like a living energy.
Okay.
And when you're going to a haunting or a place that's haunted, that isn't living. It's just an energetic imprint. So,
okay.
And I love this joke, but I really, really doubt that when you go to a hotel and you see this haunting and, you know, there's the woman with the baby and she walks across the bridge from left or right at 3 o'clock in the morning. I highly doubt that at like 2:55 they're going, I need the baby. Where's the baby?
On the other side, they're
5
preparing
minutes.
for their theatrical moment.
Exactly. They're like, come on. Where's this baby?
Okay, so then, but there are certain places then that do, because there are a lot of mediums who do like work at places, but that's really just to figure out what happens. So they're just figuring out the energy, or do you just think those people
I'm not
are?
gonna stomp on anybody's feet, but
Stomp away, stomp.
But I think that it's a mistake that people make. They feel something and they think that it's a spirit person, but it's just the energy, and that's a hard thing to distinguish.
Okay, all right, that's
thing
fair.
to distinguish. If you feel something, you may think, oh, that's somebody who's wanting to talk to me, when in reality, you're just stepping into an energy that is stagnant and has made an imprint right there. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
so yeah, I think so, and I was going to follow it up with one of the things I wanted to tell you up top, that the improv itself was actually emailed me because they were excited you were coming, to let you know there were a couple, that there are a couple comedians who hang here. I mean, there's a lot of comedians who hang here, but like a couple famous
If this
ones.
is a place that they love to go, they could come back.
Okay,
sure.
so you
but
do.
it's not like they're stuck here. Does that make sense?
I see. Okay, that makes more sense. So if your energy lives on, your energy can choose to go certain places.
Yeah, if they loved comedy and they're like, I can't get enough of this, they're probably gonna come hang out here. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, so places can be haunted, but people that are like, oh,
well, I think
the woman
haunted
walks.
generally has the condition of like they're stuck. You know?
Okay.
Like, oh, this is the only place that they inhabit, and
Oh, interesting.
they're not here and they're not there. Don't you think that when people talk about haunting, they talk about ghosts, which means that they're
And you got to be in that room for the ghost to like bug you. You got to be in that space.
Right. So I don't quite believe that. I think that everybody, when they die, their soul moves forward to a different place, and that once they're in that different place, they can go wherever they want, but not in a way that they're stuck and they're trying to get somebody's attention and they need to be like moved to the other side or something of that nature.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about places that are like haunted with bad energy? Like, so I did a Western a couple years ago, and we went to the Birdcage Theater, which is like this like a notorious like West, like every night at least 5 people were like murdered, and it's just like supposed to be one of the most haunted because it's like all this bad stuff, all this terrible energy was there. So those people, if they pass on, can just choose to hang out because they're just like bored, or
Well,
that's just so much bad
if it wasn't
energy.
a place that they would want to be, I don't imagine that they would be hanging out there.
Okay.
It's the same thing, like, no deceased person that I've spoken to has ever been like, "Ooh, I like to hang out at the cemetery." You know, like
where my body is, and no one visits.
But generally, what happens is they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I went with you to the cemetery yesterday, and then I went right back home with you." Like,
oh, okay.
Like, hey, that was a fun trip. Thanks for the flowers. But they're not hanging out there.
Okay, are dead people assholes? Can they be? If they were assholes in real life, do they chill out?
I don't think so. I think that when we cross over, we are the best version of ourselves. And so, anything that has to do with the physical.
I'm trying to think of. I got a couple family members that I'm like.
Are you sure about that?
I'm like, I wonder what their best was.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that could still come across as an asshole to you. Like, I'm trying. You should have seen me in life.
What will happen though is, if I were to do a reading for you, I'd be like, man, I have this asshole here. Because if he comes in and he's like the nicest guy, you're gonna be like,
yeah, that's not
I don't
him.
know who that is.
Yeah.
So he will portray himself as what he used to be, but that's not the actual energy.
Like the essence of him.
So the minute that I say that, that feeling disappears.
Oh, I love that. That gives me so much hope for people. That makes it feel like we're all really good, sparkling little energies that are just stuck in
Maybe
these
I'm just
terrible
an eternal optimist, but yes, exactly.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And it will be said, you know, if they were an addict or they were really aggressive or mean or whatever, that will be communicated, because of course they want their family members to know it's really them. They're like, oh yes, no, I did do that. This is how you'll know me. So that will be communicated.
With your optimism, which I love, and I'm gonna haunt you just in real life.
That's called stalking.
Don't tell her.
Okay.
Want it to be a surprise.
Boo.
Okay, with this though, I feel like there has to be part of the reason, because I feel like I grew up really intuitive. Just like my grandparents were Native American princesses. Everyone says that, right? But I do feel like I've been pretty intuitive, but I got scared of it because I was told, probably rightly so, because I feel like there is rightly, that if you just open yourself up, anything can come on in. So I would get kind of scared of being I want a Ouija board, but the Ouija board was whoever wanted in could come on in.
Yeah.
And so there'd be are there not?
I'm more afraid of the living than I am of the dead. Any given day.
I mean, I'm afraid of everyone's, but all right.
But I don't think that spirit people are evil or that there's anyone that is.
Really? So you can really kind of open up more to be all right, here we go, I'm open.
Well, and go in with a good intention. You know, if you're like, oh, I really want to seek out the bad in the world or the bad energy in the world, then that's what you're going to attract. But if you go into it hey, I'm trying to open up my intuition, I'm trying to let my soul kind of come out and be present and connect to other people that are living life in that way and use my intuition and all of that stuff, that's what you're going to attract.
Oh, so fear is kind of it'll attract a little bit of fear. And
of course.
Okay, because that's what I was always nervous about, because I was just literally told if you open yourself up to that energy, you're going to get bad things around.
Nah, I really don't think so. I think as long as you don't go actively seeking it out, which I still don't believe it exists, but why are you going to go looking for it? You know?
Yeah, who goes looking for trouble except those people stuck at the Birdcage Theater?
Exactly.
Very specific reference. Hopefully we remember it from 5 minutes ago, because I barely do. Okay, so when you see this stuff, you talked about developing it. So you actually, from what I can gather, from what I can read, you
read me, please.
You kind of see these people. I mean, you probably visually see them in a lot more senses than I do, but you see it and then you get. Do you literally smell things or hear things? Are you taken to things? How does it show up for you? Because you say yes and no to things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in order to see them clearly.
I see, feel, hear, and know. So it will generally come in and begin with very much a feeling, and then I may see images, kind of like a daydream. So people will often ask me, "Oh, is it just that you're seeing it 3D right in front of you, and like a movie?" And that's not really it. It's
that'd be awesome though, right?
It would be great. It would be awesome. I keep asking them for it, and no one's whispering in my ear of "Hi, this is."
I will be, because I'm going to follow you, but other than me, yes.
Other than you, no one will be whispering in my ear. But I have to try to find the storyline from what I'm being shown.
Okay.
And so I may get a feeling and an image and a sound and a voice that says father, and I'll be able to put those pieces together, and it gives me a better understanding of who's coming in, and from there we just build the energy. all the person that I am reading for would say it's like, yes, that's right, or no, it's not.
Okay.
But it starts to form for me. So it kind of understand if you were passed over and you were trying to get a medium to understand who you were.
It'll be you. I'll follow you when I'm gone as well.
Thank you. That's quite on there. But it's not easy to figure out how you would give them all that information,
right?
Like without being able to like actually say it out loud and be like, "This is my life story." Giving it in images, giving it in feelings, giving it in just like one word at a time isn't necessarily easy. So they try to work with a dictionary that I have ongoing, which is just like, okay, what's the image for a heart attack, or what does it feel like when someone had cancer, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to build the foundation of that, and then we get into more specifics. But really what I allow them to do is just get very close to my energy, and we blend for a moment. So it's not that they inhabit my body or anything, but we just overlay each other for a second so that I feel who they were, who they are, and I'm able to communicate that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is
how do you let them out? See, I got boundary issues with real life people, so I feel like I'd be the worst medium because I'd be like just clombered on, like, and I'll be like, I want to go, but she won't let me.
I don't think that's really ever a problem because they're not connected to me outside of the fact that they want to talk to you. Does that make sense?
Sure.
The only reason those people, the spirit people, are talking to me in the first place is to get a message to whoever I'm, like, they don't care about
every
me.
awful LA network person who's like, oh, you work for so-and-so?
Right, exactly.
Hold on. Like, befriend you, but can you tell your boss this?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So the minute that the person that I'm reading for leaves, so does my spirit friend.
Oh, nice.
Then they go.
Have there been readings that, there have to have been, that, like, really personally affected you? Like, where you're
course.
Really...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, there's
How do you
definitely
deal with that?
like
'Cause
my
I feel like-
highlight reel of wow, really just intense. Generally, the kids always get me.
The kids who have passed or the kids that...
Kids who've passed.
Oh, man. Ugh.
As well as reading for kids who've lost like siblings.
Yeah.
One of the sweetest ones I did was for an 8-year-old boy who had lost his 13-year-old brother.
Okay, I'm
And
a crier.
it was
Here we go.
so sweet. Well, not only that, but because he stops me at one moment, he's like, you don't have to prove that he's here. He's like, I know that. And I was like,
my
heart
God.
is breaking.
Oh, did you just start crying? I would have just been like,
So sweet.
oh, that's what, there's a lot of reasons I
Which
don't
kids
have
are so
these gifts,
special
but-
in that way.
Yeah.
Because he was like, why are you proving it to me? Like, I know.
I
was
got
like,
it. What does he want to say?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
that was
wonderful.
really sweet. So there's definitely like my moments or the ones that if I'm tired or if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, that's what I do it for. Like those
That
people,
thing, that
you know?
moment.
Mhm.
Do you have like, I mean, obviously you have bad days, but do you have like moments where like you get real down? I mean, afterwards where it's like, I didn't connect with anyone and everyone in there is going to riot and... In which case, call me. I'll be backstage hiding anyway, but I will take them down.
I've been pretty good about making sure that my energy stays balanced, and
Okay.
I have a pretty good understanding now for myself of when I'm not doing good, just as a person, where I'm like, oh, I didn't get much sleep this week, I'm not focused, like, I really have to get it together before I do this show.
Okay, yeah, so like leading up to like your June
Yeah.
10th show, you'll be like really meditation.
I'll be zenning
and
out for a bit. Yeah, and it doesn't mean I have to spend my entire life like that, but it definitely means I have to manage it. And
Sure.
I can't just like walk on stage and be like, oh yeah, I went out last night and I didn't get any sleep this week, and that's not going to be a good show,
Yeah,
because
like anything.
Yeah, like
you're not-
anything. So you do have to make sure that you live your life in such a way that you can be connected to your intuition and just your spirit sense all the time, because it is something that you want to make sure that you're as clean of a vessel as possible, like your channel. And anything like technology or just getting too bogged down in like personal drama or whatever it is can affect that. So
Yeah.
I have to make sure I meditate every day and like do things that nurture my soul so that I can then give to other people, for sure.
That's crazy. I feel like, do you believe in like guides? Like, do you believe that there are guides helping you? Or like, because that's another thing I feel like that's part of the pie that you have to bite off. But I would
Yes.
also feel like it might help to have like, like a little team over there being like, you
Totally.
come in, you stay out, she's up to you next, that kind of.
Exactly, yeah.
What I'll be doing for you from now on.
Yes, thank you so much for taking on that really hard
You
job.
won't know it. You'll just be like, why is there no one in the audience? Like, how much do you believe? I don't want any bad energy going in there.
I'm sorry, I don't like the look of you. It doesn't feel right in
It
my
doesn't
gut.
feel right. She said I was allowed to do this in my life. Out.
She said don't follow the
She
rules. She
said-
said it doesn't matter what anyone says.
It's just me and you in the audience, like, yay! You're doing
So, what were we talking about?
Guides. Do you think that they're guides? Like, and people helping you? Like me's, but in the other...
I had a very hard time with that in the beginning, because I was like, oh, guides, you know, like you hear about the Native American one. And
which I have, which is why I didn't believe in it. Because I was like, oh, there's a wolf man. Of course there's a wolf man in the corner.
There's always a wolf man.
Yeah. But there really is. He always shows up. He's like, I'm staying until you believe.
Right.
All right.
It's totally cool. And so, but you know, at one point I thought, okay, if our loved ones are on the other side, and I've gotten a lot of proof of that, why wouldn't there be spirit people who were just there to help you out? Like, why not? Makes a lot of sense. So I've definitely had my own interactions with them. I really, really, really believe that I do not do this work by myself. I have, I'm sure, a whole lot of people working for me in terms of, not working for me, but also working for the people that I work for, you know? To make sure that it's good and the energy's flowing. And when I do a stage show, I'm sure there's some guide out there going like, hold up, not your turn, get in line.
Yeah, just like there has to, because that's what it feels like when you're reading, is it feels sort of like a line of people coming in. Otherwise it'd be probably overwhelming.
It'd be like total chaos. So somebody has to help me out. I'm sure they're doing
someone
it,
other than me. I'm getting exhausted from all my responsibilities. I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm too tired all the time.
I'll get you a break.
Thank you so much. Let's bring someone else in to help out for one.
Your wolf man's gonna step
He's gonna step in a couple times. He's scary and silent. And it took me like 10 years before I believed, because I was like, every time I do a meditation of like, meet your guides, first one in, just stand in the corner. I was like, I don't like you. Anyway, that's neither here nor out there.
I think that's really great. I think sometimes, you know, we do get in our own way with this stuff. And like, who said it wasn't possible? It's kind of one of those things that I've stopped saying, oh, that's not possible. Because within 2 weeks, something will happen where I'll have to take back that statement.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, I'm sorry that I said it wasn't possible.
I guess everything's possible.
I guess it's possible.
Okay, so if I may play a hardcore skeptic for a moment, which is, as we all know, just a role. I'm in. But there are people who have had conversations like this before, and the big thing, especially about like reincarnation or about souls sticking around, is the numbers, right? Is the numeric thing of the fact that it's like there are more people now than there have ever been. So how can...
Well, I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation in the way that it is set up right now. Like, I think that it's probably far more complicated than we understand, because we see it in the way that we live our life. Like, oh, you know, we got 80 years, and then we pass, and then we do another 80 years, and then we pass, and then we do another 80 years.
Time.
It's like, okay, like, you know, it's a clock. And I don't really feel that it works that way, because when we cross over, first of all, there's no time and space on the other side. So throw that out the window.
Oh, jeez.
So that
it kind of always is anyway for me. Like, where am I? What is this?
So once you throw those kind of limitations out, you're left with a situation that we have no understanding of. It's like trying to explain the ocean to somebody who's never seen the ocean before. And and I do believe that there's lives that we've all lived before, but are they in the setting of, you know, okay, you were a princess in this one, and you were, you know, a farmer in the other one.
Definitely. Love them both.
Like,
don't forget about the aristocrat.
Exactly, when I was a queen.
Yeah, everyone's a queen. There were a lot of queens.
Exactly, everybody's a queen.
Hell yeah.
There still are.
But I don't think that it's in the chronological order that we probably perceive it to be. And I don't quite have my own theory of exactly what's going on, but sometimes when all these questions come up, I just go back to my basics, which is I sit in my meditation and I let whoever's loved ones come forward and I connect them to them, and then I'm like, wow, that was magical. Maybe I don't need to know about reincarnation. Because it doesn't really affect that aspect to it, you know?
Right, like it doesn't, your belief or ability to explain what's going on there doesn't affect whether or not you still can connect people.
Well, and my number one thing about reincarnation is that I do not believe anyone will ever go to the other side and someone there will say, oh, you just missed them. Like,
the biggest fear, actually, that is a fear I feel like people have.
I don't think that happens. I really don't believe it. I've never seen it happen. And I
How
think
awful would that? You just get haunted. You just be like, I waited for you.
I waited. Well, and also I think that when somebody is a mother in this life, a father, a brother, a sister, or whatever, that purpose continues after they have passed.
Oh,
so
you sign on for like a long deal.
You sign on for a long. Yeah, be careful if you're gonna get pregnant. I'm just kidding. It's not just the 18 years. It's not just the 50 years. It's a long time.
That's a reminder to go to CVS after this.
Exactly.
I'm not ready.
Eternal
My poor
motherhood.
parents. Actually, I feel bad for them. They took me on. They thought they were going to be done by 30. They weren't
Exactly.
They're not
But
even close.
I
Sorry.
strongly believe that. It's like when you're a mother, that continues. And so you would never go reincarnate and be like, all right, figure it out. Like, see you in another lifetime.
Yeah. I have my own theories.
Maybe in your
I thought
case.
about it.
I'm
She reads me. She knows. She's already like, and I'll never speak to her again, like everyone else. I have my own theories about like how the numbers things work, just because I've come up against it so many times,
Right.
and it's sort of, I think of it like a kind of a primordial soup type thing. So if someone feels like they have an element of like John Lennon, like, because they're kids who come in and just like know all the Beatles songs, and they're 3 and they can play it, whatever, and it's like how that's. I feel like they just took a little sort of bit of it, you know? And I don't also think we're all taking from like the earth pot. Like I think it's,
well, and
speaking
also,
of pot, I think it's way bigger than that, man. Like it's like huge. Like,
It's all in your mind.
right. That was pretty good. That was pretty
Thank
good.
But I also think that when we're talking about guides, I think that people can come back to influence others. So maybe John Lennon is like influencing some little prodigies
that
that
little
he's
prodigy.
producing.
I would hope so, otherwise it was all for naught.
Exactly.
Next show is just me interviewing Avery as John Lennon, asking what the other side is like.
And also you Paul McCartney.
Do you do all of them, Ringo?
Ringo's down here, he's under the water.
Oh, very good.
George is over here.
You know what I realized about Ringo Starr? He sounds like Wacko the Animaniac. And I put them
I'm gonna have
specifically
to
in that
listen
order.
to both.
Ringo sounds like Wacko. Not Wacko sounds like Ringo. Anyway, you have to. That's what I do in my free time. Instead of real stuff, I'm catching up on the Animaniac. 65 episodes in one season. It's crazy. Anyway.
That's impressive.
Said
That's a
all
superpower.
that.
That's a superpower. We're talking about my superpower. We should be talking about your
I'm a
superpower.
great Netflix and chiller. Netflix and chill girl. I can sit there for hours. Are you still watching? You bet I am. Bam! That's the worst.
You cannot outdo me.
Okay, so let me get a little, since we were talking kind of big, let me get a little bit bigger. You don't believe in hauntings, which I love. So I had a woman on here, and she was fascinating. She talked about aliens. Do you believe in, like, anything outside? I mean, obviously,
Honestly,
there's
I
stuff
don't give that
outside.
much thought.
You don't think about it. You're
just
already
don't.
so in, you're just like, whatever, I talk to dead people. That's...
It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, maybe. Not gonna say it's not true.
So you have, like, a normal person's reaction
Yeah.
to it, rather than...
I'm like, interesting theory. People generally really want to talk to me about aliens, and I'm like, I know nothing.
Really?
About them.
Oh, wait, so I'm not the first one to bring up
Oh,
aliens
no,
with
of
you?
course not. I think once you tell someone you're a medium, it really opens. They think
That's
that
what
you're
I'm saying.
interested in like
Every
every
part of it.
And I'm just not. Aliens has just never been something where I'm like, yeah, I really want to get to the bottom of that. I mean, the chances of there being life in the solar system are significant because if
Sure.
you look at us and we've all seen that YouTube video where it's like the small
Which
one and
one?
it's like oh now we're like really hanging out
Yeah.
And-
There's like 40 of them.
Right, exactly.
I watch a lot of those too. I'm real
and
good
it
at
blows your mind and
watching.
you think there must be life out there. But
Yeah.
that's as far as I go where I'm like, I'm sure it exists.
Yeah,
Maybe.
alright.
Is it like a little alien man? Probably not. But
Okay. Great. I love that.
That's-
So you
that's
just don't
my
even
answer
think
to
about
that.
it.
I
That's like
don't
a
know.
normal. No, I love that because I feel like that's part of the reason I love doing this show is like that you can kind of and this comes from a not normal person as well, but you can kind of be like normal. You can be a normal person who's not like they're like, oh, I'm a medium, and that means that like I believe in everything.
Right,
Because
right.
that's the hard. That's
well, and
what's
I'm the
hard.
first person to
People don't
say
wanna-
too, where like I really don't know everything. Like I'm figuring it out just like everybody else is, and I have a very, very, very strong belief that there is something when we cross over, but it's like a 99.9999999. Like I'm gonna leave that 0.0001% chance that I'm wrong. Like
Sure.
it's possible.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think so, but it's possible, and I think that we always have to kind of maintain that skepticism to some degree.
So why is it called crossing over? Do you know? Like, is there
It
a
just sounds
threshold?
nicer
It's
than
just
dying, I think.
I just think of the John
I'm
Edwards
constantly running
show.
into that because death is such a topic that people think is it's such a scary topic. Like,
and
if I'm designing a poster,
you don't have a giant death.
We can't use the word death
guy.
or dying or loved ones that are dead. Like, we don't. I'm trying to stay away from that word because it makes people really sad. And I'm like, this is a happy thing. We're reconnecting you to your loved ones. And so you have to get really creative with it, like loved ones in spirit, crossing over, messages from beyond.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Messages from beyond. Yeah, that's what actually the June 10th show we decided on.
Messages from beyond. We'll be there. Yeah. Do you I got really excited about that, so I got really distracted by it. When you are, I'm sorry, I'm so ignorant. I lost it. It's such a good question. When you're talking to these people and you're creating these shows, do you ever get like, do you ever think it's gonna go away, your gift?
I tried so hard. I tried so hard as a kid to make it go away. So I really don't think it is. I think as long as I keep doing it with integrity and authenticity, and I do what I'm supposed to be doing, it'll be around for as long as I'm supposed to be doing it. And hopefully that's a long time, because I think I do want to connect to as many people as possible, and I think I would be able to do a good job for that. So hopefully they let me do it.
She's talking to you guys. I got your back down. Do you hear that?
Please let me keep doing this. It's pretty cool. But no, I tried so hard to get out of it. And when I went to that psychic, she did say, she was like, you're not living the life you're supposed to be living. So.
Which I think we all hear.
Yeah. It was like, oh, really? Doesn't seem like I have much of a choice. But I really took it to heart in that's kind of my purpose.
Do you feel like there are people, when people come in and give you messages, do you feel like they kind of need to be heard, or is it just for the purposes of connecting? Or because there've got to be people who like don't need the message. I mean, like how do they prioritize? I'm gonna need to know, so when I'm doing your business for you on this side, I know who to let in the front row. But I mean, like just in general.
I think there's like, are you asking in a show like why people come through, or are you asking why people come to see me?
Well, no. Why? Who knows? I mean, we kind of all could intuitively know why they come to see you, for fascination and want to connect and all that. But I mean, like when they come through, because that's been the thing. Whenever I go to a reading, or when I get a reading done or whatever, I feel like it's like it's something I need to hear.
Right.
And so how does that priority? Usually. Okay, so
yeah, it's very need based. I always say you're probably going to hear what you need to hear, rather than what you want to hear.
Yeah, that's always a fascinating thing, right? Everyone expects it to be like, your grandpa who just passed or something, and it's like your great grandma.
Well, the thing about it is, maybe in a show, but if you come for a private one-on-one, all of you. So I've never had it where I'm like, oh, it's just your grandma. Like, if one of them's showing up, the whole family's showing up.
They're all there.
So if that means you get a lot of people, we'll be like chatting to 10. But if there's really just 2 or 3 that you wanted to talk to, it'd probably just be the 2 or 3. So it really depends on the person. Sometimes somebody comes in, I do 15 minutes with them of just one person, and then other times it's like we've got 12 family members that are chatting. My favorite to do are like the 95-year-old women who come in. And it's like we've got.
They're playing bridge. Like they're just like,
all right.
She passed you the ace of spades.
Seriously, we're like, okay, we got your brother on the left, you got your sister on the right, your mom's over here, your dad's over there. That's your Uncle Gary. Okay, check. Yep, that's your dog.
Wow.
Like it's just kind of. Like,
I was gonna ask about dogs.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that when people like don't believe in ghosts or whatever, they're like, well, how come there aren't ghost dogs?
There are.
I swear. I'm obsessed with them. That was awesome.
My favorite so far has been, I looked at this lady and I go, there's a goat here? Did you have a goat as a kid? She's like, I did. I was like, with a bow on it? She's like, yeah. I was like, good, I'm not crazy yet. Like, thank God.
That's hilarious, because that's what I've heard. I mean, like, I haven't had any for me, but I sometimes feel like my little, some of my dogs or whatever, like, coming around, and I have a cousin who went to a reading, and she was really confused afterwards, because she was like, they said there's all these dogs around, and I was like, baby, how many dogs have you guys had? Like, and you're a dog person. Of course they're still around. They like you. And then, but people, for some reason, can't wrap their minds around ghost animals, and it's like, they have little souls.
Totally. I think so. I think if you have a loving connection to anything that breathes or is like alive, when they cross over, if that connection is still, if there's a love connection there, then there's a soul-to-soul connection.
The tears are coming. That's beautiful. Is there what else? We're running low on time. What else is there anything that I didn't ask about that you're like, oh, this bitch, why didn't you say something about this? Which is what I'll be thinking the whole ride home to myself. Why didn't you say that, you bitch? I also had an A.
We're always hard on ourselves. I after every reading, I'm like, oh, I could have gotten that and that and that. But ultimately, it's just about the feeling. So
yeah.
I think we've done good.
Yeah, you feel good? Is there anything, what's Mark Maron saying? You good?
You
good? He says it with his raspy voice. Anything else you'd like to add? Any final thoughts?
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this is wonderful. This is amazing. Okay, last question. I swear. Will Jay-Z and Beyonce make it? Will they? We all want to know. What did he do? Who's Becky with the good hair?
If Jay-Z's mom could, she'd probably still here. I don't know actually. But I talk to dead people. I don't really I don't look into celebrities' lives. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
I wish I were more invested in it.
I did love Lemonade though.
It's pretty good.
I liked it.
It's pretty. She's just honest. You gotta love Bay.
I mean, I think at this point he has to stay. Because who else is going to take him? They're going to be like, oh God, Beyonce.
I feel they'll probably be scared of Beyonce. I thought you just meant in general. I was like, he's real well.
No.
There'll be plenty of
I would be
definitely
scared of Beyonce. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you should be scared of the Bay Hive is what you should be scared of.
Exactly. I don't think anyone's going anywhere near Jay-Z for some time.
Yeah, including Beyonce from the sounds of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very important stuff we end on there. Life-changing. Thank you so much for being here. June 10th. The Colony Theater is your show.
Friday, 8 to 10 p.m.
It's a Friday.
Yes, you can find tickets on www.mediumfleur.com.
Which you can find tickets for your classes and tons of your workshops on there too.
Yes. Everything's on there. So it's well organized.
It's well organized.
We worked hard on it.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Avery.
Thank you. What a transcendent experience.
Thank you, people who are watching. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.